Have you ever felt that your life has a greater purpose, even when everything seems meaningless? What if I told you that you're not here by chance, that your existence is part of a profound plan, and even the most difficult moments of your life carry an unseen meaning? Today, we'll unveil what many overlook. You were not tossed into this world at random. You were intentionally placed here with gifts, challenges, and a unique mission. In this video, you'll discover how your soul answered a call, a journey with purpose, and how even what you don't understand today may be preparing you for something magnificent. If this message touches your heart, write in the comments now, "I accept my life's purpose." Because acknowledging it is not just a lovely gesture, it's an act of spiritual courage that can transform your existence starting today. For decades, scholars of mind and consciousness have sought to understand humanity's true role in reality. Among them, one researcher stood out for his bravery in uniting science and spirituality, Jacobo Grinberg. He devoted his life to investigating a mystery few dared explore. Could the reality we experience be merely a reflection of our inner structure? Grinberg believed that consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but the origin of everything we experience. To him, the mind doesn't just interpret the world, it creates it from an invisible matrix of intention, perception, and purpose. In that mental field, every human being carries an inner blueprint, a silent direction guiding them, even unconsciously, on their journey through life on Earth. Although he disappeared under mysterious circumstances, his legacy endures. The idea that something greater is guiding us, something within us, connected to a higher source. Whatever you call this, intelligence isn't what matters. What matters is recognizing that life has meaning, and when you align yourself with that meaning, everything begins to make sense. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall into place, yet something inside us still stirs, as if there were a quiet, subtle voice whispering, "There's more. You're not here just to survive." This call is no fantasy. It's a clear sign that your soul carries a mission. Even if the world around you insists you settle for what you have, something within you resists, and that resistance is sacred. The soul's call doesn't arrive with fanfare. It emerges as a persistent unease, a silent dissatisfaction, even when everything seems right. It can surface as questions that won't leave your mind. Was I born for this? Why did this happen to me? What's the point of it all? These questions aren't weaknesses. They're invitations, invites to reunite with the original purpose of your existence. From a young age, many of us learn to silence that voice. Routine, obligations, fears, and others' expectations pull us away. But the voice never vanishes. It merely waits. And at some point on your path, it returns. Sometimes through suffering, other times through what feels like an impossible coincidence, or even a void that settles in despite having everything you were told would be enough. It's at that moment many awaken. They realize life isn't just a jumble of random events, but a path with specific milestones, meaningful encounters, and situations seemingly tailored to provoke growth. The soul's call doesn't demand perfection. It demands the courage to listen to what truly matters. And once we begin to listen, everything changes. You start to see patterns that once seemed random. Those hard moments take on new meanings. You begin to perceive a hidden coherence in your story, that certain traumas opened doors, that certain losses taught lessons no achievement ever could. The soul's call isn't about finding a profession or attaining status. It's about living with purpose, with truth, in harmony with who you were born to be. Perhaps you're hearing that call right now. Perhaps it's why you're watching this video. That's no coincidence. That's synchronicity. Something inside you is ready to take the next step. And that step isn't outward, it's inward. Because when you start aligning with your soul's purpose, the world around you begins to align with you. Before your first breath, before the first beat of your heart, something was already pulsing in the invisible realm, the intention of your existence. The notion that you're here by chance is one of the greatest illusions modern life has taught us. There's a silent mystery behind every human birth, a preparation that happens out of time, in a space where the physical doesn't yet exist, but purposes are already alive. Imagine for a moment that your life is a grand mission, and that before you arrived here, you were prepared for it. Rather than being thrown into the world blindfolded, you were carefully dreamed by a higher intelligence. This force, call it God, source, or origin, doesn't create by accident. Every life is an answer to a need, a link in a web of meaning that transcends human logic. Your gifts weren't randomly assigned. What you excel at, your sensitivity, your unique way of perceiving the world, all these are part of a larger plan. Likewise, the challenges you've faced, the pains you've endured, were allowed not as punishment, but as tools for refinement. Just as fire purifies gold, challenges purify the soul and bring it closer to its essence. This invisible preparation doesn't imply that everything is predetermined. It simply means life is imbued with meaning, that nothing you experience is wasted, and that even the most winding paths have the power to guide you back to your center. As if, before birth, the map of your journey were etched into your spirit, not as a fixed script, but as an inner compass that guides you even when you stray. That's why sometimes we feel we've been here before, or that we belong to certain people or places without explanation. These are memories of what was prepared, seeds of purpose planted deep within the soul. And when you draw close to that alignment, an unexplainable peace settles in. You sense you're exactly where you're meant to be, even without understanding it all rationally. Spiritual preparation for this life is a reminder that you are more than a body, more than a name, more than a biography. You are a being born of the sacred, called to a mission only you can fulfill. No matter where you've been or how far you've drifted from yourself, the purpose was never cancelled. It was simply waiting for your yes. There is a sacred balance between two mysteries that govern existence: the mission already within you and the free will you have to live it. Many believe destiny is a fixed path where everything is pre-written. Others think life is random, a game of luck and chance. But the truth is deeper. Your life has a direction, yes, but it only takes shape when you choose to walk consciously. Think of your mission as an invisible melody playing in the background of your existence. It's been there from the start, waiting to be heard. But hearing it is a choice. You can ignore it, get distracted by the world's noise, cling to empty routines, or at some point stop and decide to listen. And that listening changes everything. The mission doesn't impose, it invites. It inspires and waits patiently. That's why free will is so essential. You're not here as a spiritual robot carrying out divine orders. You're here as a conscious being with the power to decide how you'll live each moment of this journey. And therein lies the beauty. The mission was planted within you, but its flourishing depends on your daily choices. Sometimes paths become difficult not because we're being punished, but because we've strayed too far from who we truly came to be. Other times, discomfort arises to remind us we're ready for a new step, to leave behind what no longer makes sense. Free will isn't only about practical decisions, it's about soul decisions, who you choose to be in the face of what you experience. Even with a grand plan laid out for your life, you always have the freedom to choose your response to every situation. You can choose to forgive or harbor resentment, to love or shut your heart, to grow through pain or sink into it. Every choice is a seed you plant in the soil of your mission, and every fruit that grows is the result of what you decided to cultivate. When you grasp this, you no longer feel like a victim of fate or circumstances. You recognize the sacred responsibility you hold to cooperate with the larger plan of your existence. Even if there are paths prepared for you, it's your steps that make them real. The mission is the gift. Free will is the offering. Together, they form the true power of an awakened human being, one who honors their own story, not out of obligation, but by consciously choosing to live with purpose. There are encounters in life that can't be explained by logic alone. People who appear suddenly and change everything. Relationships that, though challenging, transform us profoundly. Bonds formed with a mysterious intensity, as if they existed long before they began. These meetings aren't by chance. They're part of a greater purpose guiding your journey. Every person who crosses your path carries a role, a lesson, an opportunity for growth. Some come to inspire, others to teach. Some to support you at critical moments, others to provoke changes you'd never have the courage to make on your own. They're not always easy relationships. Sometimes, those who challenge us most are the very ones who help us evolve. It's tempting to think only pleasant relationships serve our purpose, but that neglects the depth of true growth. Some connections act as mirrors, revealing parts of ourselves we'd rather not see. They uncover wounds that need healing, test our limits, and awaken dormant strengths. Even in the pain they cause, these people fulfill a sacred function in our maturation. That's why viewing every relationship through a spiritual lens is an act of wisdom. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you can begin to ask, "What am I meant to learn from this?" This shift in perspective turns hurts into understanding, frustrations into clarity, and difficult encounters into turning points. There are also those rare connections that touch your soul at first glance, people with whom you feel instant familiarity, as though you've known them for lifetimes. With them, conversation flows effortlessly, bonds deepen quickly, and there's a profound sense of belonging. These encounters are reunions, souls walking together on journeys larger than this lifetime. These soul connections serve a clear purpose: to remind you who you are, activate what has been dormant, and help you stay on your path. They're not always permanent. Some last only a season. But what they leave behind is eternal. They mark your story, awaken your gifts, and strengthen your mission. Nothing you've lived with someone has been in vain. Every word, every distance, every embrace, every silence played a part. The spiritual journey isn't just about practices and meditations, but above all, about real, imperfect, and deeply meaningful relationships. People don't appear by accident. They're pieces of the puzzle revealing who you came here to be. Within each human being exists a voice. It doesn't shout, it whispers, it doesn't impose, it invites. This voice is the silent compass guiding the soul through chaos, uncertainty, and the world's noise. Many call it intuition, others call it conscience. But the name matters little. What matters is that it's always there, reminding you of the path that truly matters. Listening to that voice isn't about mysticism, it's about sensitivity. It shows up as a hunch, an inexplicable peace when something is right, or a restlessness when we stray from who we should be. It's that knowing without proof, that feeling without logical reason. Your inner voice is the direct channel between your heart and your deepest purpose. So why do so many live disconnected from this inner wisdom? Because the soul's voice is subtle and the world is loud. We're surrounded by opinions, distractions, noise, and pressure. Most people are too busy trying to be what others expect, not who they truly are. In the process, that voice gets muffled, ignored, silenced, but it never fully goes away. It just waits to be heard again. Hearing the whispers of purpose requires pause. It requires silence, not just externally, but internally. A moment when you turn everything off and simply breathe, looking inward with honesty. Sometimes a single instant of self-honesty is all it takes for truth to emerge, because truth doesn't need to be manufactured. It's already within you, waiting to be acknowledged. This inner listening also happens in the details, in recurring dreams, returning thoughts, inspirations out of nowhere, and encounters that stir something deep inside. Life speaks, the soul replies, and when that dialogue happens, something shifts. You feel you're no longer on autopilot. You start to perceive purpose, even in the smallest gestures. You don't need grand signs. The soul doesn't deal in spectacle. It moves in intimacy, subtlety, and invisibility. And the more you respond to these whispers with coherent actions, the stronger they grow, like a friendship. The more you listen and honor it, the more trust builds between you. Your inner voice is the most powerful instrument you have to align your life with your true purpose. And the most beautiful part is that it's untransferable. No one else can hear it for you. No one can decide for you. This listening is yours alone, and it's available right now, in this very moment. All you need to do is be still, breathe, and listen. There are times when pain feels unbearable, losses, disappointments, humiliations, traumas that tear us apart and make us ask, why me? In the midst of suffering, it's hard to imagine anything good emerging. But it's precisely in those shadowy moments that the deepest seeds of purpose begin to germinate. Pain is never pleasant and must not be romanticized, but it serves a role that in time can be understood. Pain breaks what's false and reveals what's true. It strips away masks, silences pride, and confronts us with our essence. When everything collapses, we have the chance to discover what we're really made of. Have you noticed that many people who inspire the world today have endured great suffering? They heal others because they were once wounded. They motivate because they once hit rock bottom. Mission often arises from what felt like the end, because when you cross a desert and survive, you carry within you not only scars, but maps to help others cross too. Pain teaches what no theory can convey: empathy, humility, resilience. It reveals what truly matters, making us stop chasing illusions and start seeking essentials. And when we choose not just to survive pain, but to transform it into meaning, something sacred happens. The wound becomes a mission. This transformation isn't magical or instant. It's a process. First comes chaos, then silence, then understanding, and finally the decision. What will I do with everything I've lived? It's in that choice that many discover a new reason to live, not because the pain was forgotten, but because it became a bridge between suffering and service, between downfall and awareness. Often, what makes us cry today will be what makes us strong tomorrow. What felt like defeat can become the starting point for something far greater than we imagined. When we look back with spiritual eyes, we see that a hidden purpose was there all along, a call that could only be heard after the pain. You don't have to understand everything now, nor force a meaning amid chaos. But if there's one thing that can sustain you through your battles, it's knowing that nothing is in vain, that nothing is wasted. Even the deepest pain can be used to fulfill the most beautiful mission of your life. Recognizing a greater purpose for your life is the first step, but living that purpose requires a decision, an inner choice that radiates outward. Answering your soul's call is, above all, an act of courage. Courage to be who you were born to be. Courage to leave autopilot behind and start living with intention. Many wait for grand signs to follow their purpose, as if a voice from the heavens must shout directions. In truth, the call rarely comes with spectacle. It comes in small urges of the heart, in persistent restlessness, in ideas that won't go away. Alignment begins when you stop ignoring those signals and start taking steps, no matter how small, toward what makes your soul come alive. Aligning with your purpose isn't about changing careers or becoming someone else overnight. It's an inner realignment, living each choice, each action, each word with awareness. It's stopping living to please external expectations and beginning to act from the deepest values you carry in your heart. This process involves detachment. You may need to let go of secure paths, of routines that no longer fit, of old versions of yourself. But the freedom born from this choice is incomparable. When you heed the call, life conspires in your favor. The right people appear, opportunities arise, time falls into place, and even if challenges persist, inner peace settles because you know you're exactly where you should be. There are simple practices to support this alignment. First, set aside moments of silence to hear your soul without interference. Second, write down what moves you, what disturbs you, what you feel destined to express. Third, act. Small, coherent steps aligned with your beliefs create a domino effect that slowly transforms your reality. Another key is gratitude. When you begin to thank life for growth opportunities, even the difficult ones, you shift your vibration. And when your vibration changes, your perception changes. You see meaning where you once saw chaos, a path where you once saw a wall. Heeding the call isn't an endpoint. It's the start of a new journey where every step is taken with greater presence, devotion, and truth. The soul doesn't demand perfection, it only asks for presence. And as you become present in your own story, everything around you begins to align. The world doesn't need more people on autopilot. It needs awakened souls living their mission with courage and love. And perhaps all that was missing was this moment, this awakening, this choice. Now that you've heard this message, the choice is in your hands. You can continue living on autopilot, hoping something changes outside. Or you can assume today the role that has always been yours, protagonist of your own journey. Your soul's call doesn't require readiness, it only asks for willingness. Pause for a moment and breathe. Remember everything you felt during this video. This wasn't by chance, it was seeds awakened in your consciousness, inviting you to live with more purpose, more truth, more meaning. So why not take the first step right now? Set aside a moment today to be still and ask yourself, what am I here to live? Then write down the answer you receive, whether it's a single word or an intuition. If this message touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone you feel needs to hear it too. And in the comments, write, I choose to live with purpose, because when you declare it with truth, the whole universe begins to make way. Your sacred journey has already begun. The next step is yours.